meaning I couldn't pass my Series 63. We swapped codes at the end of 2007, beginning of 08. We were already regional leaders, and then he got all of his licenses, went RVP, and we went RVP in 2009. And so we still run that way. He's the RVP. We always say rep, right? So when they ask partners stand up, we both stand up at the trips because we're both very engaged. We're both fully licensed. It's just my passion is working with clients, and the fact that what we've been able to do with our AUM is probably one of the biggest, most humbling things. But I think what I hope to encourage you today is that no matter where you're at, please don't compare to other people. Just compare to the you were yesterday and become the best version of you. And if you do that, you can collapse timeframes. So I'm going to go through my slides and kind of go through some of the things that we've been working on. And hopefully this will help all of you. So I've got to find the proper slideshow because I've got multiples open and this.
Recording in progress.
Okay, so why can't I find the one that I was just working on? Hold on, sorry. I have it saved and then I can't find it now. So you got to love when that happens. There it goes. I just had it up, but I don't know what happened. So it's going to populate and not be silly on me. Perfect. And another thing that I'm going to mention, I don't have it in this slide, I mentioned on previous, if one of the ways that you're going to improve the most, everything about what I'm going to talk about today, the underlying theme is you need to improve your communication skills with whom you're talking to. So what I mean by that is if you are struggling in areas, I am downright fanatical. I record myself on every single appointment I'm on, whether I'm recording with audio, whether I'm dictating, whether I'm Zooming myself and I'm recording, and then I'll let the clients know I'm recording for training purposes. I'm always recording because I feel like that's one of the things that most people think is they're like, oh, I've been in the business long enough. I've been here long enough, or I came from an industry where I communicated.
But I'm getting ready to leave.
We came from an industry where we were, quote unquote, we thought we were good communicators. We thought we've been told, and we're not. So this is just some of the track record that's happened. And I do want to show you this because I think this is probably one of the coolest things. We came into the business in 2007 and we were taught to always do packs. We recruited. We weren't ever huge recruiters. I think our biggest year we recruited as a base shop was 159 people. That was in 2020. But most years we're between 60 and 70 recruits as a base shop. And so, and now it's actually lower than that. We're ramping that up again. But the point of this is in the early years, no one taught us how to have the conversations. So if you're brand new on here, I think one of the bigger things that you could do, if anything, is make sure that you're doing the whole job. And I'm going to talk about that. But make sure you're buying term and investing the difference. So number one, you got to have an investment license to move your AUM. I'm a big proponent that you need all of your licenses, including your Series 65, because that's going to come into your growth organically. And that could be another conversation, but get all your licenses. Also, the other thing that's, I think, a very big deal is making sure that you're doing a pack. So there's the numbers 8531 that come from Art Williams. And what that says is out of every 16 appointments we set, we end up on 8 financial needs analysis or 8 appointments. 5 F&As are done, and then 3 life insurances. But we attach, well, now we do an app for each person, right? So that's 6 life insurances because it's a couple, so it's 3, and then 6 investment accounts. So we're doing an emergency fund. We're doing like maybe a brokerage account, maybe 2 Roth IRAs, 2 minor Roth IRAs for the kids. We're doing multiple accounts. So the question is, if I looked at how many new accounts you're opening on a monthly basis, are you trying to just go back and talk to your existing clients? Or are you actually going in and getting more and more clients, right? So I'm going to go through what made the big change right here. But if you can look at our base shop AUM, we weren't really great at securities for any, I mean, we had been in the business at this point till 2019, 12 years. I mean, and I'm not trying to compare, but in my mind, we weren't doing a great job because we weren't having the conversations. So here's one of the things that happened. And I think this is some of the things that maybe you should look back and reflect on your journey. In 2016, so almost 10 years into the business is when we first got our own office location. Until that point, we had always been housing with other people. And I do believe for the public and your team and your base shop, or even as you building your own brand, when you take ownership of your own location and you plant your flag, it does something to you. And it did something to us. February 2017 was the first time I hired somebody part-time to be my office admin. Now, that's a whole different training that I'll go into about why you need to use an agency to hire admin. Don't hire just your friend or somebody in your base shop, because I think sometimes we don't hire the right people for that position, right? That position's supposed to alleviate work off you. So we hired our first person. This really helped. And the one thing that I did right here is, so we came from an organization where we weren't really taught how to have an ongoing system of meeting with people after the initial set everything up. I mean, we kind of did, but we weren't great at it unless they called us. And right here, actually, it was from Kara Dowers. I am so grateful that I was at a training, and she said, I wasn't great at follow-up. I sat down and took baskets to everyone and said, I'm sorry, I'm so happy you're with us. And I was like, at that point, we had like 500 clients. And I was like, okay. So I wrote this letter that said, thank you for being with us for the last 10 years. We appreciate you. And from here on out, just to let you know, we have a new office location. We're going to start meeting with you to kind of update you on all the things we help people with. And we're going to do a better job at communicating with you. That changed everything for us. The amount of clients that called us or sent messages that were like, we're so proud of you. And so we started doing follow-ups. Okay. 2018, I started really leaning into, and you're going to see this in the future, but I started leaning into using my externals through my companies that I had vetted. So I don't just use any external. I make sure that they are people friendly, meaning their faces look happy. They communicate well, right? And they speak client speak, meaning they're relatable. And we started hosting workshops. Before this, I had done dinners. And believe it or not, client dinners, in my experience, clients feel like they're being paid to come. They kind of feel like they're trading their time for money, and they don't necessarily love that. The workshops I have had far better success with, where they know they're just going to come and get great education and they're going to learn something, and then they can refer their friends and family or recommend them to learn something without feeling like they're having to trade like their time for dollars and sell their souls or whatever. But that's my personal take on that. 2022 is when I actually hired a real office admin. She's been amazing. We now have three. So we've expanded so much. And I truly believe that's one of the reasons why our AUM has grown so much this year, is because I have people helping me. And I don't just have people that are part-time, people that just file, like they're actually working the system for me so I can see more clients, right? And then in 2024, I did get my managed license. And I'm telling you, that changed everything. Mike had always had it, and I always kind of referred everything to him. And then once I understood how big the managed space has for your clients, for you as an advisor, it changed a lot. So let's talk about one of the things that I think that we underestimate, or we don't do clearly, at least I found. I visit with many people in my base shop or different ones that'll ask me. And the one thing that I can think that I see commonly that's holding you back is you aren't clear on how you are different than other advisors. And two, how Primerica is different than other firms. And so one of the things I like to really focus on, I always show this picture on every appointment. I think this is so big, because the scope that we work with 122 different firms to solve for all of their finances, nobody else does that, nor do they want to do that. And then I always mention, and I think you should always mention this too, that the founder of our company was a football coach and a teacher. And so what I express is, look, his goal was to help educate hardworking families, middle America, on what they don't know about money and finance. And people get so excited about that. They'll express things. They're like, this is so exciting. I didn't know a company like this existed, but I referenced that Art Williams was a football coach and a teacher, and that he had a goal to help educate. Okay. So I think that's a big thing. Make sure you're very clear on this. Sometimes I think people utilize this to touch on brands, familiar brands. Don't do that. Because that doesn't distinguish you. I mean, you can say, have you seen these companies? But that's not, to me, the point of this page. It's to let them know the vastness of how we're going to help them. The other page I use, and I've talked about this on previous trainings, but I borrowed this from the farmers. I'm not giving it back. David and Jax, I love them. But this pinwheel shows how much of their money we can impact. And if I was just an advisor, all I can do is solve for the money they do or don't have to invest with me. right? So most advisors would call Shannon and say, hey, Shannon, she's on my screen, right? I'm gonna pick on her. Shannon, and you meet with them and they go, well, how much money can you invest with me? And Shannon goes, well, I've got about $500,000 in my 401k. I'm doing a great job, but I just wanted to make sure. Well, because Shannon doesn't have investable assets at that time, they're not going to keep advising Shannon. They're going to tell her, come back when you're 60 something. Now, couldn't Shannon make some massive moves if they helped her in the middle to maybe retire early or to have other options? Or yes, of course she could. So our focus and our reach that I think you really should be talking about, people, is we solve for 80% of their money, or 80 cents of every dollar. And we can help them find money to do the things nobody's ever showed them how to do, okay? The other thing I think you should be very clear on, this goes back to our roots, is that we give them hope. It's never too late. And the opportunity to help them from where they are to get to the goals and dreams they maybe never thought they could achieve. And I truly believe that's the thing missing in most financial institutions. They're corporations. They don't care about hope, opportunity. What do they want? They want a closed business, right? And so please, record yourself. Listen to you. Ask people you meet with, ask your agents, look at you and take a real deep autopsy. Do I still have the same like fire and excitement I had when I started and helping people? Or have I become kind of rudimentary and, my eyes are glazed over in my appointments right now, okay? So I borrowed this slide also from Mr. Wayne Olson. I love him. So here, let me say one other thing really quick. The more visual aids you can use, the better you communicate, the better it helps them want to do everything with you. So why do I say that way? Because sometimes we've gotten to this point where and I'm not saying this is any of you, but what I've seen in some of the comments over the years is, well, I used to use this slide. I don't use it anymore because it took more time. But though that's needed for them, even if they've seen you 5 times, they don't remember. So by you constantly reminding them of all of the ways that how you are different, that's how you get referrals too, right? That's how you get traction in your market. So this slide really shows that if I'm a normal advisor and they have no investable assets, I can't help them. And I let them look at this and I say, hey, look, if you make more money or less money than the $5,850 a month gross, this is percentages. So it's still going to help you, right? But you notice they had no money investable. And honestly, if all I did was investments, I would say, yeah, I can't help you, Shannon, come back when you have money to invest. But our reach, our advantages with that financial GPS that we do, we find money and we make it the money you have more efficient. So we were able to lower their debt payments by 15%. We lowered their insurances by 5%. We found the money to invest. We lowered their taxes by 2%, right? And then my favorite line's the last line, guys. Talk about giving people a difference of advisors. I said, look, we gave them more money to enjoy the ride of life. We gave them $700 more a month or $350 more every 2 weeks so that they could go do a date night. Retail therapy, mani-pedi. In Idaho, everybody buys guns, right? So whatever. Like the point is they got to do with that money what they wanted. And I asked them, how great would it be to have more money to enjoy life knowing you're still going to hit your goals and dreams? And they get so excited, right? And then I just asked them this question, right? Did I ask them to spend any more money? No, right? So how many people do you know that are struggling right now that wish they could retire earlier, wish they could do X? If they could find that we could show them this strategy, how many of them would want to know we exist? You're helping me by talking to them. Guys, when you realize that everything you tell someone is going to impact your AUM, you stop cutting corners and realize that we're going to invest in them with our time, okay? So next slide, I give them hope through debt stacking. And I know this is not a AUM thing, but this is an AUM thing, okay? So let me say this. This is a statistic, and if you don't know this statistic, I do think you should repeat it on every appointment. It helps with your referrals or your recommendations or your introductions, right? So there's 3 ways I call referrals, and you know them as referrals, but in appointments, I'll refer them to as recommendations or introductions to friends and family. Is debt, so here's the statement. Debt is the number one issue why people are not able to, it's the number one reason why people can't save today, invest. And we're the only advisors in the advisory space that include their debt dollars into their plan that we will then redeploy into investments later when we teach them how to get debt free quicker. Think about that. It's where most of their money goes. None of the other advisors talk about it. So when you teach them this, not only, even if Lisa comes to me and says, I don't have any debt, that's great, Lisa. I'm going to skim through this page real quick. I'm not spending a lot of time, but I'm going to have her think about all the people she knows that if I could show them how to get debt free quicker, they're going to have an extra 2.4 million at retirement. Talk about creating a referral resource, because Lisa now goes and tells all of her friends, and her friends go, Lisa, thank you so much. And they love Lisa because I'm helping them change their life, but they attribute it to Lisa, right? Big deal. Okay, so be clear. The other area I want you to be very clear on is the value. Brad talked about this, the value you offer in working with all of their money. It's your value proposition. I love this page from Invesco. I'm telling you guys, I use Invesco. They're phenomenal. And I love this page. I give it to everyone because it shows all of the ways that we help people. And it's so great because it goes through all of the areas that we can change their life. And a lot of these areas people don't know should be covered. So this is awareness, right? So I give them this. And then the other thing is this. I always end with the house page. And the house is the big focus, because I want them to remember we're building them a financial house. So when you do that, what you're doing is never do I have someone leave and say, oh, I think I'm going to still keep my Fidelity guy. They're like, oh, I'm going to bring all my money to you. Because you're dealing with everything, you're going to get us to our goals and dreams quicker, right? So very, very big. Marketing, this is a huge one. Oops, sorry. I was supposed to delete that. So appointment structure. I'm going to talk a little bit about how my appointments are. I do feel like this is one of the things I really shifted to in 2019 that got me like my trajectory. And I've gotten way better at this since 2022. So my first appointments are always, I educate using the success presentation, and I can share my presentation in the MPI Telegram if you guys all want to. It's just the success slides with a few slides added into it, but I have a specific order. I talk to them about their financial journey and how we're going to work with all their money. And we're going to help them not just in the initial investing of assets, but ongoing decisions. I'm going to be their financial coach. See, if you say financial advisor, sometimes people think you're going to tell them what to do. And I want to reassure them, I'm going to help them spend their money. We're going to spend money. And they're like, oh, that's so cool. Because then it gives them permission to talk to you, right? Transparency. I have the tough conversations with them. You know, one of the things I'm going to ask them, Shannon, is, do we have any vices? You know, do you this isn't the first appointment, guys. Like, I'm meeting with them and we're chatting and I ask them questions. I ask them questions like, what's the most amount of money you've ever saved? How long did you have it saved for? And what happened when it went away? Where'd it go, right? I'm going to ask them, do they have vices? So what are vices? Gambling, shopping addictions, any addictions really. Another one is the white knight syndrome. Are we saving family members? So by the way, vices can be, we give money to people because we're so good. So we're such wonderful relationship people. We want to save everyone. And guess what? We never save us, right? We're going to talk about that. And then I'm going to help them. I'm going to teach them ways that I can help them. I'm going to say, look, we're going to be able to, because we're looking at all of your money, because we're going to talk about the beliefs you have about money. We're going to really help you do things you've never been able to do before. And then I always talk about the 3 criteria, whether it's at the first of the meeting or the end of the meeting. This is kind of, I feel that out, but I trained on this last time. I do think you should always talk about this. And the reason is because this really clarifies your value proposition. See, Shannon, you want to work with people that you can help and will let you help them. So how this would work is, if I was talking to Shannon, I'd say, hey, look, the 3 things, and we'd be visiting, and usually by this time, they're very excited. And I said, look, this whole time I've been evaluating 3 things, right? This first meeting was, you're interviewing me and I was interviewing you. And they look, right? And this is actually a very thing, because it's showing them that you mean business. Okay. So I was establishing, Shannon, can I help you? And guess what? I can help you, right? I'm pretty sure I can change your life. And I know you thought you were going to retire at this, but I'm pretty sure we can get you to go a few years sooner. And Shannon's getting excited, right? And Carlton's getting excited, right? And they're doing all the things, but you can see them. So I said, can I help you? We've established that, because honestly, guys, as we've learned on MPI, we don't move money to move money, right? So if we can't help them, be the big enough person to be like, yeah, I can't help you. Number 2, do you want my help? And people will laugh at this. And I say things like, and this is probably one of the biggest things that I say is look, everybody needs what we do, everyone. But not everyone wants help. Meaning they'll give us the problem and then they'll take it back. They'll give us the problem, right? I want to know you want my help. And they'll usually say, okay, I want your help. I'm like, okay. And then this is the most important. If we can establish, I can help you, you want my help. The third and most important criteria is, will you be coachable to me? Now, Shannon, it is your money. And guys, I'd say it just like this. You can do whatever you want, but I'm always going to tell you what's the best thing to do with your money for the goals and dreams you have. And I'm going to be very candid if you're going to do stupid things with your money. And I say things like that, right? And sometimes I use the word stupid crap. It just depends on the personality of the person because I want them to feel like I'm at their level. And this is really important. And so I say, look, what I establish here is I truly feel like you would be coachable to me. And they're like, yes, of course we would. This is such a big deal because when you start doing this, they not only feel like it's a reciprocating relationship, not just they're hiring you, that you're hiring them. Okay, so huge deal. My second meeting. So after the first meeting, and I can also share this, I have, as they leave, my office staff will schedule a second meeting. That's about 90 minutes. So the first appointment's 45 minutes to an hour. Zoom or in person, I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me. Second meeting, they're going to schedule with my staff. They're going to give them a homework paper, which has all the homework on it that they're supposed to bring to the next appointment. And then here's how this appointment looks. So it's going to be, I'm entering in their data into the financial needs analysis. Now, I don't use the financial needs analysis as a hard and fast, if it says they can't retire, that as you all know, you can do a better job than that, but it's a way for me to store their info. And if they're an S-type personality or a structured type personality, a gold that likes to get a little report, I'm going to give them the report because they like that, right? So I'm honoring their communication. But I don't want to necessarily data entry it before they get there because I want to discover with them what's happening. Now, the reason why this is so big is because how many times have you ever given paperwork to somebody, they take all your stuff in, and the way they input it, it's not exactly how it's supposed to be. That's the same with their finances, right? And so it allows me to kind of talk with them. I let them know that on this appointment, if there's any on the first, that if we have time warrants, we're going to open any accounts. We're going to talk about strategies. This is very appointment by appointment on this because I never really like to go more than 90 minutes. And here's why. Okay, I remember all this for those of you that like to talk. Somebody's brain can only assimilate what their fannies can endure or butts or whatever you want to say. So if you're there too long and you're like, man, I'm killing it, they love me, and they don't really love you, they're checked out and you've lost it. So you want to kind of work on that time. The third appointment, and this is what I started implementing that's changed everything. So the first two were always there. But basically, if the third appointment, so this could be a third or a fourth, but if we did everything on the second, the third appointment or the check-in appointment is 30 days after everything's landed. So all of Lisa's accounts have came over, her husband's accounts have came over, the life insurance has been issued. And what I'm doing on this appointment is I'm showing them, I'm opening up the accounts, I'm showing them how the money's there, I'm showing them how to log in. I'm taking some extra time to make sure they feel like they're very informed. And the reason this is so big, if you went to the managed workshop, more and more people are losing clients because they can't log into their accounts because they get annoyed. And guys, think about it. In Primerica, we got like life insurance login, we got Core Bridge login or your annuity login, we got your managed login, your shareholder login, we got PLPP login. If you're doing all the lines of business, that's a lot of logins. So my job is to really whittle this down and help them. And then from this appointment, it's usually about 45 to 60 minutes. I'm going to schedule one in 90 days, right? Now, why? Because that's another one. They'll forget things. Things will come up. A lot of times in those 90 days, people will be like, this has been so great. I have more money. And you'll get more money, right? You'll get better referrals. It's those touches, okay? And then from there on, depending on the person, I'm meeting them usually every 4, 6 months or 9 months. I never go a full year, even with my younger folks. And here's why. Because in a year they forget and they're like, oh, she only sees me once a year. But even with younger ones, if they're like, man, my advisor sees me every 9 months. Now that might just be a phone call, guys. That might just be a quick Zoom. they're not going to be long appointments, but what they're doing is the more you can touch them, the amount of space you take up in their brain is big. So when they're talking to someone, Shannon, they're like, oh, I just had the most encouraging meeting with my financial advisor. And they're like, wait, you're like 30. How do you have a financial advisor? Oh, I found somebody. And they're telling everybody about you, right? So this is huge. Hybrid educational workshop. So let's talk about the value add that I think this puts into, you can try to get clients, and I say onesies and twosies. So you can be recruiting, you can get referrals, and those will be here, and it's sporadic. And even if you're doing like 10 new appointments a week, it's still sporadic. What if you could really collapse timeframes? And what if you could just blanket everything, right? Well, here's what a hybrid workshop looks like. So a hybrid, FYI, by definition, hopefully you all know this, is an in-person and on Zoom. Now, why would we do both? Okay, here's why. Number one, you have people in your area that want to like see you, touch you, be at your office. But the majority of clients don't actually want to go to the office. They just want to know it's an option. Make sense? So I will be here at the office Zooming, and sometimes my speaker can be in person. And if the speaker's in person, I really encourage a lot of people to come. But if not, if my speaker's out of state and they have to plug in, then what am I going to do? I'm going to they're going to Zoom in, and then we're federal covered advisors. So I got clients in Massachusetts, Texas, California, Washington, Idaho, North Carolina, Tennessee. I want to make sure all of my clients are open to this. So then I'm going to run core educational meetings. So as you can see, the speaker, we were in person, and then we have people on Zoom. Okay. So this is by far, if you're not running a Social Security savvy workshop or a Social Security workshop with whoever your person is, this is the biggest missed opportunity ever to get more AUM and more referrals. Okay, let me give you this is the statement I say when I'm promoting this workshop. Social Security is the largest pension that everyone in the US will benefit from. Yet it's the most undereducated and least known. People don't know anything about it. And you know who they're learning from? Facebook people, their friend or family that had a pork, right? So what if you could just open up a workshop? And then what I would do is I would call Shannon and say, hey, we're having our educational workshop. I call it an educational workshop because I really want them to know it's education only. There is no pitches in this workshop, by the way. It's just education. And at the end, I always show how we solve for the whole house and how we are different in our focus as a firm and as an office. And that's kind of like my encouragement for them to reach out to us. And the reason why this is so big is because I'll say, hey, look, Shannon, we're going to have this workshop. It's on Social Security. I'm sure you know people that are 50 or older or 55 or older that would love to ask questions to a specialist about Social Security or their choices, or maybe for family or friends. I'm going to send you the invite, guys, and I can teach you how I do this, but I do this on a private Facebook event. So I private, so it's not non-compliant. We also get the approval through Primerica. But the point is I do a private Facebook event where I can invite all of my clients and all of my friends, and it's not public, but I allow Shannon to invite all of her friends so she can go on and invite. And then I put the link in the private event. So what's happening now, and this is probably by far one of the bigger things that I think people underestimate about events, is it doesn't matter how many people go to the event. On average, we have 30 to 50. But what matters is that 1,000 people were told about it. It's called exposure. It's familiarity bias, right? We had about 1,000 invites. And so what that's doing is that's teaching, oh man, people, Shannon has an advisor that runs education on Social Security, and not just like a dinner where they're trying to sell as an annuity. It's just pure education. That makes sense, right? The next one, I use market updates when there's hot topics happening. Government shutdown, is gold a better choice? Market crash, all these things. And I vet my speakers. Kevin Ellison from Dana is amazing. Matt Pino from Corebridge is amazing. Andrew Wegner that we use from Invesco is amazing. Joyce Bond's amazing. With Franklin. Guys, use your externals to train your team and your clients. Because what happens when you do this is your clients now know, oh my goodness, not only is Shannon amazing, but she has resources. She's got access to people. And this is going to polarize them. It just makes them they're going to be your life client, right? So So this is probably another shift that's kind of a big deal here. A lot of times though, if you've been in the industry too long, I'm 43, I'll be very transparent. I started and we didn't have social media because I wasn't on MySpace and that really wasn't, professional. And we did, and networking was not a thing, right? So what did we do? We just went on training appointments. We did all the stuff. And so what I've realized is that I love this. I posted this on my stories. That's mostly where I post, but it says a lesson I wish I learned earlier. The best networkers don't network. They genuinely help people without keeping score. The favors compound invisibly, then suddenly doors open. So the idea I ask you is, how much value are you bringing to people and do they feel it? Do they feel the value because you're being clear about what's happening, right? And I love this because I think this is one of the reasons people ask, how much do you network? And I'm like, 0. But yet, like on Tuesday, my office staff scheduled 12 new appointments that called in by referral only. Just on Tuesday. So if you're truly bringing value, and what I mean by that is you don't have to be super skilled at this. You're going to get better at your skill, but always be learning, always helping people invest in them. I'll have people come to me and they're like, Kim, I don't know how to log into Social Security to get my statement to give to you for my analysis. I'm like, bring your info, we'll log you in. I have helped people apply for Social Security on their Social Security website. It takes 15 minutes. It's checking some answers. Why? Does it pay me? No. But guess what? They think it's the best thing ever because they didn't have to do it, right? It's investing in them, okay? So believe it or not, I kind of got done a lot faster than I thought I would. Wow, I'm sorry. Okay, so I have lots of times for questions if that helps. And I will say that keep going. Oh, I will close with this before I ask questions. I heard something, and probably one of my favorite things. Now, I've never got to meet Mr. Shepherd, Ben, but I won my first securities trip in 2019. And I'm going to say this as an encouragement because this is what really helped me. And Ben was speaking on the stage, first time I'd ever heard him speak. I don't know why, but I was listening to him. And he said, congratulations, everyone, for winning. And as you know, Ben is direct. And he said, but I don't know why we're all celebrating. And it was like, oh, okay. And he said, what we've done in the last, and I don't know if it was month or year, but it was a small time frame, Vanguard, what we do in our lifetime, Vanguard does in a month or a year in volume. And the reason I tell you that, and I'm ending with that, is because sometimes we look around at our numbers, and our numbers are everywhere, and we compare to other people. We're like, wow, that person does this many million or this much, and that's awesome. And we set that as our limit. Please stop comparing where you are, where you've been, and just become the best version of you. Because if you do that, you're going to look up and you keep improving all the time on your skill set, on your knowledge, on everything. Like we're doing everything to get better at, and we're recruiting advisors. We're recruiting people to become advisors. Just this last month, we added 3 new life licenses. We have 6 people studying for their investment exams. We are going to build a brokerage of financial advisors that want to help people. Right? And we're going to do all the things. But if we were to compare, last year we only did 18 million. That's the most I'd ever done. It was just under 18. And this year we'll finish, I think, around 44 million. The reason I say don't compare is because sometimes if you look at the best you've ever done, it doesn't seem plausible to double or triple. So please, if I could encourage you, just become the best version of you. So I'll take whatever questions. I know I'm done really early and I'm really sorry.
You don't have to be sorry. You killed that. Everybody's like, she got 40 million this year. How is that possible? And so they want to get to 40 million team-based shops. So if you can put questions in the chat, it's actually easier. That we would appreciate that. But Kim, maybe talk about, so did the majority of your 40 million this year, did it come from referrals? I got sent this. Did it come from referrals? Did you get group plans? Like, where did it come from?
So I don't do it. I honestly will admit I don't do group plans. I just because I have one that I do, and that's actually a way that I built my business. I did a lot of financial wellness workshops back in the day, and I still talk to that about all my business owners that we do wellness workshops. And the verbiage that I use there is I just say, hey, I don't know if you're aware of this, but our firm offers a way for you to offer key benefits to your employees at no extra cost to you. It will help you attract and retain better employees, better quality employees. And so I'd like to sit down with you and see if you're a fit for that program. And so I would schedule time with the business owner, and then I would do workshops. Right now, my schedule doesn't warrant that. So I do have one 401k. I used to service them and take them lunch every 6 months, but literally like right now, last week was my slow week. I did 22 office appointments. A normal week, I'm meeting with 40 people in the office a week. So I don't have time to go do work plans, but I'm teaching my agents how to do that, right? So I'm teaching them to build their book. So it basically came from a mix of second and third generation referrals and clients that, hey, I'm coming into money. Hey, this happened. Lots of people are selling real estate, and we're having the conversation of, should you put that and pay off your next house? Or should we invest that money into manage and have it make your mortgage payment for you? And that's been huge because that's non-qualified money. So the majority of our 40 million, I'd say almost 60 to 70% this year, probably let's say 60 to be safe, was non-qualified money.
Wow. So if we go back here to your second and your third appointments, there's a couple of questions on those.
Yep.
When you go back to the second appointment, or sorry, on your first appointment, you're doing the education. Second appointment, they asked you to do the inputting and close business in the 90 minutes. And
so it depends on how much they come with. So if somebody like I see James, hi James. If James comes to me and he's got his wife and his kids and he's got all the things and we're going to do life insurance and investments, the second appointment is going to be, we're applying for life insurance, we're scheduling the auto and home, we're doing the will, and we're really data inputting. So I only do what I can do in that 90 minutes. Now, if somebody comes to me and maybe they're Shannon and she has, her kids are grown, she has no debt, we have no need for life insurance, that second appointment is going to be mostly focused on data entry and the investments. And so it just depends on the person, whether that second, I don't stretch time because I'm a gold or an S. I'm very big on, I don't want to, what's the word? Disrespect them by taking too much time. And I think sometimes we, depending on personality, think, oh, it's okay. But a lot of times they'll have other appointments.
Totally. And so are you the one personally they want to know, is it your staff helping them get set up online, checking in? Like, who does that part?
It's me. There will be a point right soon where I will have to be more my staff. They do help me, but I'm going to pull up my computer. I've got 2 screens. I'm going to show them how to log in. It's what the time warrants. So if the time warrants, if they needed to talk about a lot of other things and they still need help, then my staff will help them, right? Or they'll schedule another appointment. So I'm not stingy with my time by any means. My goal is really much to make them feel like I'm invested in them feeling comfortable. But there's some people that just need a lot more help. And so the staff will step in.
Awesome. With 3 office staff, how do you delegate those tasks? What are your systems with your staff? I think you might have to do a whole class.
Yeah, that's a whole class. But I have somebody that oversees them. I have a greeter and a scheduler. She's like she's my blue, she's our personality. And she just sounds like, happiness in a phone call, right? So she's that person. She's constantly touching the clients. And then I have strictly a processor. And this lady's phenomenal. And she just processes. So we have critical information that comes in, like checks that need to be overnighted. We have I take all the scans. I have a PDF note taker that I talked about a month ago, remarkable too. So all of my notes go in there, all of the paperwork we're scanning in there. We even scan in their wills when they get them done through PLPP. So they have them on file with us so that if their family ever loses them. So we just offer a lot of value that I think could be like tips that we could offer.
Awesome. What's the homework you give for their second appointment? Can you talk about that? Maybe a couple of.
There's a page I can list, but it's 2 recent pay stubs. It's going to be all of their monthly expenses. So I'll give them a budget worksheet. It's going to be debt statements. It's going to be investment statements, life insurance policies, auto and home declaration pages. So there's a list, right? And then they bring that back. So I collect everything. I know everything about everything. And then if somebody comes to me, so say Jeannie comes to me and I find out she held out on me, I'm like, oh, Jeannie. And she's like, I had CD money I didn't want to tell you about. I'm like, oh, well, it could have been working, but that's okay. Like I give her crap. Like, and if she's not the person I can do that to, I'll just be like, I understand that you wanted to see if I was going to do a good job. And they're like, yes. So, but most of the time I don't have that problem because I'm gathering everything and I'm creating that big picture solution. They give me everything.
That's awesome. Hey, so somebody sent me a question. If you were starting today and you wanted to get to 10 million right now, like you're teaching your new reps, can you talk about what you would do and how long you think that would take if someone worked?
Yeah. So I think the definition is, well, what do you mean by work? Because some people's definition of work is not the other people's definition. So what I would do if I could start over is I would do 30 training appointments in 30 days. I would go talk to as many people as I could. And I would really highlight and focus on, and I would really like this. I always tell people, these are your extra points. Business owners, coaches, teachers, nurses, firefighters, police officers. And I would make sure on every appointment, I showed them the education. People will come to you for the education because nobody else teaches that. And that's why I don't use some of the other programs that eliminate the education. I want them to remember they're going to refer to me based on the education, not on the results, right? And then what I would do is on every business owner appointment, I would talk about the wellness workshops. Because by the way, I had 4 training appointments. I was very so a relationship blew. I didn't want to ask people for help, so I was super scared. And I had 4 training appointments. And off those 4 training appointments, thank goodness, one of them was a business owner who gave me 50 referrals. And right there, I realized instantly, business owners give referrals. Guys, employees, think about this. Employees don't give referrals because their mindset is not to refer to a business. They just get their job done. Business owners, their goal is to always be a resource. One other thing that I do that I forgot to put on here, dang it, is I literally have this thing that says, I know a professional. You know how you say, I know a guy? Well, I didn't want to be sexist. So I know a professional. And I have a list of all these professionals that I've vetted that I give out to every one of my clients. And it's not just in finance. It's like plumbers and dentists and and I can post a list. I mean, I'm telling you guys, it's probably one of the coolest things because people always are thinking about, well, I don't know who would know that. But if anybody would, it's Kim or Mike or their office. And they call us and be like, who did you say is a good carpet cleaner? And so we're always on their mind. And I think if you create that reciprocity or that energy, you don't have to look for appointments anymore. And you don't have to do this for that long. I really do think any of you brand new could come in here and in your first year move 10 million easily. I really do.
Wow, you should maybe say that again.
10 million, easy. It's only 833,000 a month, only 200,000 a week. Think about all the money that's in banks and CDs. There's trillions. And I think we only think about IRAs. IRAs are everybody's going after IRAs. Guys, go after the money that they don't want to talk about. It's the non-qualified money. It's the money in houses and businesses. And we can do a whole training on that, but yeah.
Wow. She said it. It's easy. Listen, she believes. So I think that's it, right? It's activity. It's being out there. It's not just sitting hoping that someone's going to call you. You got 12 people call you because of all the amount of business that you've done and how much you've been out there.
And I think the other thing that you have to look at, so if you've been here any length of time, you have people that already like you. So like, what could we do instantly to ignite our businesses? Guys, run a workshop. Get with one of your externals. It's the best. That's awesome with people. Please make sure they're awesome with people and not a dead fish. Like just to make sure. And ask them, be like, hey, we're going to do a hybrid. Could you come on and speak for us? And pick a hot topic. Pick a topic that's on the news that like the one with Dana that we just did was awesome. He talked about the president's weak dollar policy and the gold prices and why nobody understands why they're actually correlated and how that's growing our stock market. It was the coolest training ever. People loved it. We had so many people. And so like do something like that right now or beginning of January to propel your 2026, right? Or call up some clients and be like, hey, look, I need to do some revisits with you. It's been like a year. And I just wanted to review with you all the ways that we're now helping clients that maybe you weren't aware of before, or I didn't explain clearly before. And just have those conversations and be really honest and organic. I tell people all the time, like if Jeannie had met me 17 years ago and I see her for some reason now, because I have clients that I haven't seen in 10 years, it still happens. They don't call us back, they don't schedule. And I'll be like, and Jeannie, we'll chat and I'll ask her how she's doing. And I'm like, so we do all these things now, Jeannie. And she's like, wow, this is amazing. I'm like, and by the way, I've gotten better at my job at explaining. So I'm sorry if I didn't explain this right. I'm just very, very I take responsibility for me not seeing them. And I think if you were to do that, that really helps too.
I agree. I think that's a big one. People want to hear from you, right?
Yep, they do.
Someone asked, so when you do those workshops, you don't even have to be the greatest person on the planet. Find one of your wholesalers.
Yeah, I don't do them. I don't want to be speaking at them. Because I don't want them to think I'm the person that knows it all. I love this. I learned this from Tom Rice, and I absolutely love him. Everybody say prayers for him because he's on a health journey, right? But love Tom. And one of the things that Tom told me a long time ago is, Kim, I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. the smartest person in the room, they always expect to know the answer. He's like, I want to be the person that they go to, that they know I will find the answer, that I'm the hardest worker in the room. And I love that. And that's still how I am. Is I always tell people, look, I'm imperfect, but I'm going to do everything I can to get you the right answer, because I'm going to check all my stuff, and I'm going to bring in great resources to help educate you.
That's huge. How much of your success do you contribute to understanding sales and marketing?
Well, actually, I don't think it's sales and marketing at all. I think it's people and communication. So sales is just a communication process. And the quicker that you can be a student of people and communication, the quicker that you'll realize sales and marketing is you. You're your billboard. You're the person. Mm-hmm. So if you're not having success in that area, I would venture to guess pro tip, huge. Vanessa Van Edwards, please write that name down. Vanessa Van Edwards, the skills with people. She has a podcast. She's on the Diary of a CEO. She has 3 books. She teaches you, if you are a recovering awkward person, or if you're just not even recovering and you're just awkward, she teaches you the hard science of 3 things: how to be competent, confident, and warm, and a perfect blend of all 3. Amazing. We train Vanessa Van Edwards. Yes, that's exactly right. I'm telling you, she is wicked good at the hard science of hold your hands like this. Don't do the evil Mr. Fingers. Smile, use your hands, palms show truth. Like, she teaches you stuff that even I am like, oh my goodness, this is so cool. Sorry, I get really excited about it. So it's not sales and marketing, it's communication. So if you're studying sales and marketing, please stop. Go study communication and how to read people, and it'll kill it. You'll kill it.
So you had to learn that yourself, or you were just naturally good?
No, I've always been okay with people, but my skill has drastically increased since 2019. Like, to the point where if I watch videos of myself in 2019, I cringe. Like, I'm like, oh my goodness, I was a really poor communicator, because I thought I was communicating, but when I would watch, I was like, oh, that's why they didn't move forward. Another thing is, anybody ever wonder why people don't move forward with you? Ever wonder that? You're like, dude, I knocked it out of the park and they didn't say yes. Here's what happened. They clearly did not know what the next step was. So at the end of the communication, Jeannie, I would say, okay, so Jeannie, this is awesome, right? So this is the next step. And I'm clearly stating the next step, and then it's gone. But I have different ones that I've helped with, that worked with in my base shop. And they're like, Kim, I close on like the 5th appointment. I'm like, why? They're like, I don't know. I'm like, did you clearly say this is the next step? They're like, no, I didn't. So basically what they're waiting for is the person to come through the screen or across the desk and go, I want you to take my money. Nobody does that. That's not well accepted. So you need to make sure you're being clear on the next step or what they need to do, because they want to move forward. They just aren't usually going to be brazen enough to say, what's the next step? You need to say, okay, so here's the next step.
That's huge. I'm definitely ordering that book. I think that's a big deal, right? Because I think we can all get better.
Yep.
And so that's huge. Look, I know there's some big income earners on here. If you want to hop in, feel free. If you have comments or things that you want to ask Jeannie, whoever, Mike, Shannon.
Somebody does have a comment. I don't know if they know they're supposed to or a question, but I don't know if. Oh yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm not sure where they went. Is there a particular day and time that you do your events? I'm just asking the questions in the chat.
I always run my workshops on a Monday. So in our area, we have a high density of religious people that do like a home night on like a Wednesday. So I do not run it on that night. I just know I'm not going to get as many attendance. So typically it's a Monday or a Thursday. Fridays are no because there's games. Like any games, anything, right? Any sports events. Saturdays, people aren't going to remember. So Mondays and Thursdays we personally have a church meeting on Tuesdays. So if you don't have a religious meeting on that night, you might use a Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday. Just be conscious of your area, meaning be conscious, know where you're at.
Absolutely. That's big. So right now, Kim, to maximize your time, because you can't doing 40 hours or 40 appointments in a week. Are you doing most of those appointments via Zoom? How many do you do in person?
90% are in person. So here's another thing, belief. This is huge. Primerica's full of beliefs. We were taught you have to do your appointments at night across the kitchen table. And you can do that. And while you're building your business, you can do that. But here's what I started doing. I started realizing that if you have an S-type personality or gold-type personality in the room, golds, when you come to our house, no matter how clean it is, we still think you're going to see something. So if you're at my house, I can't focus. So what I started doing is I would say, hey, Lisa, look, we're going to schedule our first appointment and there's 3 places we can meet. Now, I don't have the time to go to them anymore. But when I did, I would say, here's the 3 choices. I can come to you, no problem. You can come to my office and I'm right off of the interstate, or we can do it on Zoom. My question to you, Lisa, is where will you focus best? You hear what I just said? Where will you focus best? And every time, guys, they will choose your office or Zoom, and they will take time off work to come see you, because guess what? They do it for all the other advisors. So stop discounting yourself. They take time off work to go see everybody else. Why can't they do that for you?
That's a great point, because they will, right?
Yep.
Especially when you provide the value.
Yeah.
Another one is, as far as your note taking, you said you record everything. Is that for your notes for the clients afterwards? Do you use Cloud? What do you do?
It's mostly, so there's 2 reasons to record. It has nothing to do with my note taking. It probably should be. And I think I'm going to use that dictation app that Eldon talked about, but I really do it to listen to how I'm doing in my communication skills. Everything's my communication skills. I could listen to a recording of any of you and tell you why you're struggling where you're at based on your communication skills. And I think that's one of the things we have to be obsessive with, is how, because that's even with our teams. How are you communicating to your teams? And so if you're not listening to you, even though you may have been here a long time, sometimes we get weak in areas. So that's why I'm doing that for.
That's huge. Now, listen, everybody wants your stuff. I should tell you that right now.
Okay.
They're like, can we get the Invesco list? Where do we find that? Can we get this? Can we? So
yeah, so I'll put my
wants your
homework, my presentation, the Invesco list, all the things. I'll put it in Telegram. I didn't know if I was allowed to do that last time, so I'll do it. And then hopefully that helps.
Perfect. And maybe you could come back on, because it's a big one for people too. If you could come back and do your actual presentation, just do that. I think that would really help people out, because sometimes you're a little lost on where to go, right? So
yeah, I actually have recordings of me doing the presentation, but I don't know if I'm allowed to share that. So I have it broken down into 5 videos, but we'll go from there.
We can talk about that after. Yeah. Okay. So maybe we've got like 2 minutes left. Can you talk? Okay, well, here's a big one. How do you have all this energy?
Look, I love what I do.
Money.
I love what I do. So I truly feel like I feel like I change people's lives. I always wanted to build a business where if you saw me across the street, you would literally walk across a crowded street to come say hi and hug me, because I changed your life. And I want my whole entire office. I want our reputation. It's my name on the building. Like, I'm Monroe and Associates. It's me, right? I make the brand that people know as Primerica. And so I love what I do. And I think the thing that I love about it is I don't work with people just purely by the amount of money they have. I work with them on the want that they have to change their life. So I got people that come into my office with 10 or 20 million and I fire them. Like, they'll walk in, we have a meeting, and I'm like, I don't think we're a good fit. And I think you should say that, because there are people that will make your life a living hell, and no amount of money is worth that. I don't care how much they have. And I think that's such a big thing. And so I have energy because a long time ago, I stopped discounting me. I started taking, and then I also use a business coach, and I'll plug her all day long. I can send you her info, but she helps me so much. She's very familiar with Primerica, not in Primerica, but she helps me with my beliefs, my limiting beliefs of what I'm worth. Guys, I have serious limiting beliefs about my self-worth. We all do, by the way. You just may not be aware of it. And the sooner you work on those and really deal with those, the faster you can grow your incomes and your businesses.
I think, honestly, one of your most powerful statements there was, it's my name on the building. And whether you have the building or not, or your RVP does, it's still your business and you represent, right? So that's awesome.
I like I said, my other thing I say, and this is important, as I say, look, I was always supposed to be a teacher. I was just never supposed to be paid like one. So guys, you are all supposed to be teachers. The best part is we're in the highest paid industry in the world. Like, go kill it. Go get it all. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for sharing, guys. She will put all her stuff in the chat. She's going to come back. She'll do her presentation. We want to know about your office manager. Everybody wants everything you have. So thank you so much. You are a
Thank you, everyone. Bye, Lisa. Thank you so much. Bye, guys. Thanks, Jeannie.
Thanks, Kim.
Recording stopped.
So one thing too, though, that I want to second this, Haley, you just nailed it at the beginning with the efficiency of other people booking appointments for you instead of you booking every appointment yourself, because 99% of all my appointments are all self-booked. And I think